Hey now, it's Sharon and I'm back to share another experience with you guys. If you're new to the channel, I am a retired police officer. I worked for 20 years for a southeastern city in the US and I was also in the military. And what I wanted to share with you guys, I mentioned in the last video about a sergeant coming up to me and asking me if I liked my extra job. And I mentioned practices that were not policy and policies that were not practice. Let me give you the context of the story with the sergeant. I had been given a beat car. With a beat car, better days come with the beat car. Friday, Saturday, Saturday, Sunday, Sunday, Monday. I had a beat car and I had to keep my Tuesday, Wednesday. I did that for about a month and then I went to the lieutenant and I said, LT, how come I can't get Friday and Saturday? And he said to me, you're not producing. And I was like, not producing? And he said, yeah, you're not producing. And that bothered me because I knew by his weekly reports, he's a numbers person, if you will, so he can put everything, the probability of whatever, da da da. And for his weekly reports, which I pulled out and showed him, crime was down during the hours I was there. And he said, get out of his office. I got out. I was labeled a militant then, but I got out. And 2 weeks later, I did get the Friday and Saturday, just gave them to me. Now, with the sergeant, fast forward a whole year after that, it's a new sergeant. He's new to me, but he's a veteran. And he's like, Walters, we're going to have to get your numbers up. And I'm like, really, Sarge? He's like, yeah, we're going to have to get your numbers up. And I'm like, okay, but crime is down and it's being maintained. And he said to me, you like your extra job? And right there, I knew what he was trying to do. And that's the example of practices that are not policy and policies that are not practice. Let me show you. With the lieutenant, he holds on to the Friday and Saturday, leaves me with my Tuesday and Wednesday in hopes that I'll produce. That's a practice. It's not policy, it's a practice. Nowhere in the policy does it say you can withhold the Friday and Saturday because they're not producing. With the sergeant, you like your off days? You like your extra job? Here's an example of using policy to undergird that practice because the transfer policy, we can't grieve it. Now, if I remember correctly, part of the definitions in the policy for transfer, you can't grieve it and you can't transfer because of personality clashes and things like that. You mainly use the transfer policy for staffing needs. And that's all they have to write on the transfer. Staffing needed, body needed over here. No one's going to write on there, well, yeah, she's hard-headed or she's very defiant or she's whatever. They're not going to write that. They're going to write body needed over here because of staffing levels are low, da 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 da. So how do I prove that? How do I prove that the sergeant transferred me because I wasn't producing? How do you prove it? Right. It's hard because that's the system. The system and the policies undergird the environment within the police department. I'll give you another example. I worked on a reality TV show, right? And the first season, I only worked the first season. The second season, there's editing and movie magic, if you will. They put me into the second season, but I only worked the first season. And the reason I only worked the first season was when I had to make the statements about what I saw the officers doing. That resulted in ostracism and retaliation. And I was slowly reassigned to other things, if you will. Now, practice and the policy work together to really hurt me financially. That's a hurt. That's a hurt that I suffered. And I will say this, what got me through it was the fact that my belief in Christ, and I know that he's my resource. He's the one that gives me everything that I need. Because I even had my accountant say for the year, she said, how did you live on this? Knowing that I had gone through that, the ostracism and the retaliation and not being able to work the reality show, which was, I think it was $45 an hour at that time. And she's like, how did you make it on this? And I said, it's nothing but God. So that's why I wanted to I share these things with you. Now, going back to the lieutenant and the sergeant, I think people are coming, the higher ups are coming down on them, so they come down on us. Here's another perspective, if you will. Let's just say there are 9 other officers that are not producing. Guess where we're going to go to produce? We're going to go to the low income areas. We're going to find that person walking in the street and there's a sidewalk provided. Now, I see a middle-aged man, he's walking in the street, sidewalk provided. Either I can give him a ticket or arrest him. Let's say I arrest him. Now, I just took that middle-aged man who is probably a breadwinner in his house. He's in jail, can't get out of jail for 3 or 4 days. So now he's missed work. And there are 9 others like me doing the same thing. Think about that perspective. When the sergeant came to me and said, you're not producing, I was big on beat integrity. Because I asked him, I said, am I not answering my calls? Is that what you're saying? He's like, no, your numbers are low, the arrest tickets. And I said to him, Sarge, I am answering the calls on my beat because I don't want other officers to have to answer the calls on my beat. A lot of times people would milk calls, like take long periods of time when it wasn't necessary, because maybe sometimes they didn't want to answer the calls. But I didn't want anybody to come to my beat to have to answer a call. It was my beat, I'm going to handle it. And also get to know the folks, because that's how you get information. But yeah, that's all I want to share with you guys. The system in place, the policies and the practices produce the environment. The environment, as I mentioned, was not conducive to the truth. That's why ostracism and retaliation happened with me. And if it's not conducive for the truth, accountability is diminished. Those are some things I share. I'll probably go a little bit further in more videos, but I will leave you with this. You don't necessarily have to go through a thing to learn from it. Check out our online store, and I created some notebooks for you guys. Take a look at the links, and I'll talk to you later. Be safe, y'all. Bye.